In a world that never slows down, this show is your daily 10-minute reset for your mental wellness. The quick grounding moment that helps you breathe again, think clearly, and stop carrying everyone else's weight like it's your job description. Today's guest helps you to stop living in reaction mode and start living in rhythm. So your nervous system isn't running your calendar. So let's welcome our special, the therapist takeover guest, Miss Jenai Tidwell.
Hello.
Well, welcome to
Hello.
the first official therapist takeover for 2026.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here.
Right. So introduce yourself to the audience so they can know who is amongst them today.
Absolutely. So, as mentioned, my name is Jenai Tidwell. I'm a licensed professional counselor supervisor and have been working in mental health for nearly 20 years. I am the owner and CEO of Fowler and Tidwell Counseling, which is a local private practice here in Houston, Texas. And I'm also co-owner of another mental health consulting firm called Hartwell Business Solutions.
Okay, well, you have a lot going on, and we are in the same city, Houston, Texas. Okay, so are you ready for this impactful conversation today?
I definitely am. Definitely.
All right, well, let's dive in. So, most women don't realize that they're dysregulated until they snap, right, or shut down, that flight or flight. So, what are the quiet signs someone needs a daily reset before the breakdown?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think probably we all have been in that space once or twice where shut down or snap was right around the corner. So I would say these are some of the signs that you should be looking for. Sleep issues is usually a really good indicator. That 3 a.m. wake up that everybody dreads and hates could be a really good indicator that your cortisol and stress levels are starting to get in a really bad space. Digestion issues are another concern if you start to experience any level of like constipation or the opposite. If you're going to the bathroom more often than normal, that could be an indicator that you are getting close to breakdown. Headaches is another good one. For us women, issues with our cycles. If your cycle begins to become irregular when you usually have been pretty steady, moodiness, and not just our kind of normal moodiness, but extreme, where you're much more reactive and maybe a little bit more snappy than you usually are. And then also social withdrawal is a really good indicator when you just can't handle it, when your fuse is gone and um, people are all, you got that much nerve left, right? Like that is another good indicator that you could be getting close to the edge.
All right, about the snap, right? That last
Not the
straw. But why do you think, especially as high functioning women, we have a lot going on, kids, career, whatever. Why do they wait to the last minute? Like why not take care of yourself sooner than later?
I think we have been celebrated for being able to take on all the things. And we have almost been trained to do so, I believe. Our society has looked to us to be mom, superwoman, wife, friend, daughter. And so all of these roles that we are playing, we get so caught up in the things that we do in those roles, and we learn how to just push forward beyond the signs or the indicators that, hey, we need to maybe slow down. And so rather than celebrating being Superwoman, um, I'm in my soft girl era. Like I'm trying to turn my knobs all the way down
Okay.
and let the other folks come on in and take on some of the stuff that they need to take on.
That is great because, yeah, that soft girl era, the soft everything era, like just sometimes just let it go, breathe, relax, like let your mental health just flow and reset. Like everything doesn't have to be so, stuff is serious, but it don't have to be so serious, right? Like calm down a little bit. And actually, you
Yeah,
you think better when you take that reset, right? And then you could flow better because your brain isn't so cramped and aggressive and angry and hangry and all of those other things we experience.
All of those things. Yes, absolutely.
So mentioning that, and I want you all to think about what your self-care routine is right now, right? So that 10-minute reset that you need, because she's going to give you some more tips and tools, so make sure you stay tuned. But what are you needing right now, so that while we go through this conversation, you can be thinking about some of the things that may be beneficial to you, so that you can implement it in your 10-minute reset uh, routine. So speaking of that, and the reset, and which is a part of self-care, why doesn't self-care stick for overwhelmed women? And what are we doing wrong? What is that wrong thing that we're doing that makes us feel like, we have to take on another chore? Everything is a chore.
Yeah, I love that question because I do think that at times self-care feels like just that one additional thing we have to fit on the day or fit in the calendar. And so it kind of gets pushed to the side. But think about it this way. When you're stressed and you're like going 90 miles an hour, your body is in fight or flight. And we have heard that term fight or flight before. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when we're high stressed, we are going 90 miles an hour. When we're in fight or flight, that's our sympathetic nervous system that's turned on. And when that happens, everything else in our brain turns off. When that sympathetic nervous system turns on, our body thinks safety, security, get away, fight or flight, right? And safety preservation is all that we're doing. So if you're in fight or flight and you're constantly going, your brain is not in a space to learn something new or to establish a new routine because it happens in a completely different part of our brains. That happens in what's called the prefrontal cortex. So trying to establish a self care routine or learn a new self care tool while you're in fight or flight is like trying to drive your car with the emergency brake on.
Mm.
It don't make no sense, right? You can get somewhere, but it's going to take a whole lot more energy and effort for you to get there. So, what we need to do is take a moment, turn off that fight or flight, let your body rest, let your body get to a place of peace and calm, then try to establish the self care routine after that. And then the part of your brain that does all of the learning and the routine building, that part of your brain gets to turn on and it'll be so much easier.
That's some good stuff. So what's one thing they can replace with something else that actually works? They should replace what and with what?
Mm, I would say replace TV watching with stretching or walking. Any level of movement is going to be better. Now, don't get me wrong, I love me a good Law and Order moment, SBU, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm there with everybody else,
Binge
right?
watching,
But
huh?
hey, I'm guilty too. I'm guilty too, right? But when I have an opportunity to even walk on my walking pad or go outside for a moment, even take a 5, 10 minute stroll down the sidewalk, that does wonders for your brain and body to reset you more than that 10 or 15 minute television show or even scroll on social media.
And that's a hard thing to do because we like, oh, I need a break, so let me just lay on the couch and do nothing. But sometimes that's not the best thing to do. Or balance it. Like if you feel like you have to sit on the couch and binge watch for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever, like split it up. Like do some other type of relaxation techniques. Like you said, take a quick walk or whatever. And not to mention,
Yeah,
like a lot of us work virtually now, right? And
absolutely.
so
Yeah.
that's a mental stressor in itself.
It very much so is. All that screen time, we leave the computer screen for the phone screen, for the television. And so sometimes our eyes truly just need to see something in nature, right? We don't need to see something digital. And we don't think about it that way, but we really do need to connect back with kind of the earth and get ourselves centered again. And so that's where that walk, that's where stretching even could be really super beneficial.
Absolutely. Okay, everybody, this is a great time to take a break. so that you could think of some of these things that Miss Tidwell has shared with us. But before we take our quick break, I have a question for you that I want you to ponder on. And then when we get back, she'll dive into some more tools and techniques. So make sure you stay tuned after the quick break. But this is what I want you to think about while we're gone for the few seconds or minutes is when do you need a reset most? Do you need it in the morning? Do you need it in the midday? Or do you need it at night? But you do need it. So you just have to determine, when is your best reset, right? And so let's take a break and she got something for y'all about that right there. So we'll be right back and then she's gonna tune us into what she think about that and then you have a chance to ponder on that as well.
Welcome to the Girl Talk Mental Health. Girl Talk Mental Health dares to go where others won't. We unpack the hard truths about mental health, dissect trending topics, and challenge the stereotypes and stigmas holding us back. From navigating the 6 dimensions of wellness to redefining social norms, this is more than a discussion. It's a revolution in how we care for our minds and souls. Ready for bold, honest conversations that spark change? Let's dive in. It's time for real talk with real impact.
Okay, so welcome back to the second half, and I hope you pondered that question that we just asked. And Miss Jenai Tidwell is going to give us some tips. But in this second half, make sure you stay tuned because we're going to continue thinking about how you can reset using some tips and tools today. And remember that it's not about having a perfect routine that is not required, but it's having some type of routine so that you can get yourself in order. Then you can build and make it, not perfect, but catered to your lifestyle. Because I can't say perfect because it'll change over time, right? So, what do you think
For
about
sure.
that morning, midday, or night about that reset?
You know, I think most of us are probably looking for that midday to early evening reset. I'm hoping that when we get out of bed in the morning, we're getting out of bed on the right side of the bed, as they say, and we're in somewhat of a good mood and well rested. But usually, my reset used to be around that 3, 4 o'clock hour when I knew I had a couple more hours of work to go, but then I also had the responsibilities of the evening. And so, taking a moment to pause, breathe, kind of de stress, calm myself, settle myself. That was my reset every evening as I was commuting from the office to home.
That's good. Yeah, that is the best time. Like, well, especially like I'd like to tell my clients sometimes too, like you have to determine if you're a morning person or an evening person. And so then
Sure.
when you know that, then you can know how to use your energy to your advantage. Cause I know I'm a morning person. So I'm up like 5:30, 6:30, and people are like, girl, why you up so early? When I really don't see my first client till about 10 o'clock. But that's when I have my most energy. But by 6 or 7 o'clock, I'm ready to go to sleep. Cause I'm out of there. So you kind of have to,
Yeah.
gauge yourself. But here we go. Y'all listening, y'all tuning in. So she about to give us some tips. Y'all got your notepads and all that stuff ready. So give us a 10-minute reset we can do anywhere in your car, in your office, in the kitchen, especially for people who overthink the resetting part.
Yeah, absolutely. So this 10-minute reset is literally one that I used to do myself. And I literally would do it on my commute home when I had the opportunity to. Mind you, be safe while you're driving if you're driving, be wise and smart. But you want to start out with like 3 minutes of breathing. And my favorite breath work tool is what I call box breathing, where you inhale for 4 counts as you're going up. You hold your breath for 4 counts as you go across. You exhale for 4 counts as you go down, and you hold your breath for 4 counts as you go across. So it's the inhale, hold, exhale, hold. I would literally do that as I was driving for a good 3 or 4 minutes. And it really does settle your mind, settle yourself into the present moment, gets you out of thinking about what happened 2 hours ago or what you got to do at 9 o'clock before you go to bed, gets you into the present moment. So 3 minutes of that. Then I would stop at a stop sign or stoplight, and I literally would flick my hands and shake it like I'm shaking off water. So you're like literally are flicking your hands. If you are in the kitchen, you could jump up and down even, and let your arms flop kind of beside you. But the whole point is to shake out some of the energy that you've maybe been holding on to and maintaining all throughout the day. So you do that water flick for a whole minute, and it's going to feel like an eternity, but do it for a whole 60 seconds, if you will. Once you get that part done, we're 4 minutes into the 10 minutes, then you literally just let everything fall. You, I would put my hands on the wheel, kind of on the battle part of the wheel, and continue to breathe. If you were in the kitchen, you can stand still and kind of stand in place. If you happen to be sitting, you definitely could sit in a chair, rest your hands on your lap, and just let everything fall. And you actually will kind of feel a little tingly. You'll
Mm,
feel kind of the endorphins kind of settle, and you'll get a rush when you finally settle. That's how you know that you're doing it correctly.
mm.
You let that dead weight drop and you just sit. And you do that for a whole another minute. So now we're 5 minutes into the 10. Okay. For the next 3 minutes, I want you to do some grounding techniques. And my favorite grounding technique is to look at all of the things around me and go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I spend 30 seconds looking at 5 things I can see in my immediate environment. Then I spend 30 seconds thinking about or and recognizing 4 things that I can feel. Then I spend another 30 seconds thinking about 3 things that I can hear. So I'm going through all my senses. Y'all catching on? The next 30 seconds, is 2 things that I maybe can smell. And then the final 30 seconds is that taste that's still lingering in my mouth. Coffee, tea, maybe a leftover from lunch. But you want to go through all of your senses and spend 30 seconds recognizing these things. If you go through all 5 senses, that's about 2.5 to 3 minutes. So now we only got 2 minutes left of our 10. And those final 2 minutes, I want you to repeat an affirmation. And one of my favorites is I am enough and I am doing enough. And so I will spend 2 minutes literally just breathing and repeating that. Sometimes I'll say it out loud, sometimes I'll say it in my head, but I am enough and I am doing enough. That reset really gets me in a much better space no matter where I am. If I'm happy, sad, mad, frustrated, that will get me back to a place of peace or calm and kind of almost feeling good about me. So that's your 10-minute reset wherever you are.
And that's good. Even though while you're explaining it, it may have seemed overwhelming for women, and so let's think about that part because they're like, oh, that sounds like a lot, but actually 10 minutes ago, that's probably almost a stoplight right there.
It really is super quick. It really is. Yeah.
So, and we have somebody who's going to think this is what I'm about to ask you. So, what do you
Okay.
say to that woman? Because I know some of y'all are thinking this, who can't quiet their mind. They're like, oh, I just got off of work, or I just got out of this chaos. It's hard for me to quiet my mind. I'm overthinking, I'm overwhelmed. What do they do?
I think the best thing to do in which to try to quiet your mind is to recognize what it is that you're stuck on. Let's not just try to turn it automatically off. Let's like recognize that. If that's you're frustrated at a coworker or you are going through that email response that you gave that had you on 100, let's recognize what it is that's happening that you're stuck on and take a moment to really sit with that. Then, after you've recognized that and you've recognized the emotion, then try to breathe your way through it and see if you can switch your thought. I think a lot of times we tell ourselves, I shouldn't think about it or I can't think about it. When the best thing to do is to just let yourself feel that emotion and actually have the thought and see it through rather than trying to force yourself to stop it. Because we all can get stuck there. So allow yourself to be human and have the human emotion and experience. And then recognize that you get a choice to change it if you wish.
That's good, that choice part, because people think that if my brain says something or if something is happening, it has to stay there because that's what's happening at that moment instead of, having control over it and knowing that you in control of what you let it do to you. You might not be in control of the actual thing that's coming to you because you can't control other people and situations that happen, but you can control how you react to it and how you let it control the rest of your day or play out.
Absolutely so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely so, Mr. Jimmy. You got it. We actually have a choice in how it is that it maybe takes over, if you will. And so then that's the permission I give myself to be human and to be mad, sad, frustrated, and then decide, okay, I don't want to be that anymore. I'm going to now reset and then choose a different state of mind or state of being to be in.
So you giving us some good tidbits. I hope y'all are paying attention. Rewatch it, share it with your other sister, home girlfriend, or whoever you have, your sister, brother, daddy, whoever, mama, grandmother, them, all them, and share it because this is some good stuff. Rewatch it, save it to your playlist, whatever you need to do. Now, for someone who's watching this, because it's like 9,000 people or plus 12,000 who probably watch it right now. Watch the replay, share it. If someone watches this and does only one thing daily for the next 7 days, because take consistency to make it a new habit, right? What
Okay.
should it be and what results will they notice first?
I think the one thing that can make the biggest impact is to establish what I call a digital sundown. Pick a time. We know the sun sets at a certain time in every season. In this season of your life, I want you to pick a digital sundown time. And that time, I want you to stick to it. Make sure that it's 60 to 90 minutes, if you will, before you plan to start to go to bed. And here's what's going to happen in the next 7 days. Those first few days, you're going to feel a bit of phone withdrawal. You're going to feel a bit of digital withdrawal. You're going to itch. You're going to want to check your phone. You're going to think about it. I want you to try to resist that temptation. But once you get to day 3, you're going to start to recognize some of the brain fog that you had starting to lift. And you can think clearer. Thoughts are coming to you quickly. You'll actually walk in the room and remember why you went there instead of being like, what did I walk in here for? Those things will begin to happen when you get to day 3 through 5. Your eye fatigue will also improve. And many of us have really tired, dry eyes by the end of the day. And that's going to improve day 3 through 5 as well. And then finally, when you start to get to day 6 and day 7, you will fall asleep much quicker. You're going to see yourself falling asleep maybe within the first 15 minutes to 20 minutes of laying down rather than laying in bed for 30 plus minutes trying to fall asleep. And you will also recognize that the quality of your sleep is going to improve. You will wake up much more rested and then be in a much better mood throughout the next day. So establish your digital sundown.
That is some good stuff. Well, we sure appreciate you here for being our special guest on Girl Talk Mental Health and this 2026 Therapist Takeover. And do you have any final remarks? Tell us what you have going on. You have some special offers. You have something going on so the audience can keep in touch with you.
Absolutely. So everybody can find me on most social media platforms. My hashtag I am Jenai T. And so Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you'll find me on all of those. I am Jenai T. And then you can always find the practice online, Fowler and Tidwell Counseling, our website, fowlerandtidwell.com. As for myself, I'm doing some trainings corporately and doing some workshops for individuals that are putting on retreats or things of that nature. So I've got a few things lined up more in the corporate realm in Q1 of 2026, but am available for individuals if they want have a workshop at a retreat or a training in their office. They know that this could be something that can improve their team's flow or their leadership's flow and their work product. Would love to talk and meet with them and be able to share some tips and tools that'll get them reaching their goals in 2026.
Absolutely. So y'all make sure you check her out. Her bio should be in the description of this show. Her connections, and she just told you her connections, so there's no excuse. Get your needs met. And we want to thank you because we appreciate all of our therapists who are going to participate in the therapist takeover because it's important to be the well-rounded, to know all of the things that you need to live a fruitful life. And so we're forward and we're ready. So y'all check her out. And if this helps you to exhale, don't keep it to yourself. share it with another person, because there's enough for everybody, and everybody has a different niche and a different need. And we want you to subscribe so your reset will be waiting for you tomorrow, today, next week, next year, because the day will demand you. If you're successful, your day will demand you, but your peace deserves a plan. We want to thank you. Comment, reset, connect with Miss Jenai Tidwell, and we will see you next week for another impactful conversation in the Therapist Takeover.
Thank you for joining us for Girl Talk Mental Health. Remember, your mental health is your wealth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to at Virginia Del Manning.